Hello everyone, today we have a very fun and silly build for you. This build is based around level 2 Storm Sorcerer and level 10 Enchantment Wizard. Now this one, I'm not going to do a whole build guide on how you level with it because the build actually only really works for this one at level 12. And once you have a very specific thing as the Dark Urge. So this is a Dark Urge only build, and it is based around this ability. Now, before I start any farther, there will be spoilers, so if you do not want to know spoilers about the Dark Urge or what you might get, stop now, get out of here. So, first spoiler. Power Word Kill. Level 9 enchantment spell. We get this in the game if we're a Dark Urge, and at the end we give in and go on Ball's side. Now, read what Power Word Kill does. Level 9 enchantment spell. Compel an enemy with 100 or fewer hit points to die instantly. Limited to one use only. One use only. Now that sucks. We all know that sucks. But there's actually a feature to this that it doesn't mention there. You can see this if you go on the wiki, but people have found out that Power Word Kill actually isn't limited to only one use, but only if you happen to kill yourself with it. So I thought, what would be a fun way to use this? So if you die while you use Power Word Kill, you don't lose it, meaning you can do things like this. Now, I can choose Power Word Kill, and because I have two targets because of split enchantment. This is a level 10 feature for Wizard, Enchantment Wizard. You know your enchantments inside and out. You can target 2 creatures with enchantment spell instead of only 1. Now that means Power Word Kill, it targets 2 people instead of 1. And that's only the beginning. So first we'll start with it, and I'll show you what we're doing, okay? She just went into the worst possible spot. Okay, 1 on her, 1 on me. Boom! Look at that. Both dead, so is our fire elemental, but I still have Power Word Kill on my bar. That's not too bad, right? But what else can we do with that? Now you might have seen it already, because I had it already, but look, I have sorcery points, which means I can use this moment. Well, wait. Oh, I was the killer. Yes. Now, we're starting off. We have 2 bonus actions. I'll explain that later. It takes a bonus action to create sorcery points. So, we're going to do 4. We had 2, so 4 and 3. Then we're going to twin Power Word Kill. Now look at this. 3 targets. Ooh, look at that. So we'll choose you, and by the way, this has a really decent range. And of course me. Boom. Okay, now we're in combat still, because I have my second guy here. Now this character is not important who you bring, but I brought a cleric, so I could just cast Revivify. You can use scrolls for this, but you don't have to. Now the important part is though, look, now that we've gotten back up, we have our action. Both of our bonus actions again. Why is that? Because we've been revived in combat. It's not that we got up from being down, we were revived. It means we have everything. So, Power Word Kill, oh we can't twin it. So how about 5 and 4. Power Word Kill, twin, you, and me. Oh look, another time, everyone's almost dead. Now, just to finish this off, to really just show how good this can be, we'll use this Potion of Speed, raise her on up. And look, oh, there's all those actions again. I actually cheated a little bit, but I'll explain that after too. 4 3. Now this one I can't quite do yet, so we're instead going to just make it a little tougher for these guys inside. No, I'm gonna fly. Oh, not that. Fly away. Now let's see if we have her survive. Apparently he threw too good. I was going to try to show that I had Warding Flare on my Light Cleric here, and I could have stopped that attack from hitting, or if I had Shield, which I also had. But apparently he rolled too well. So then. Okay, so she does count as losing her main action because she was still only down instead of out on that one. But I can also do this and show you the other fun thing you can do in this build. Since we still have our sorcery points, I'm going to do a twinned polymorph. Do a level 2 command. Now what I could have done was I would have usually sanctuaried her right there, because again, keeping her safe. But I just want to, they're already commanded to not move and do anything, so look, now they're all doing nothing. We have only need 2 more sorcery points. And here we go. Actually, I'll do it the right way. Now, these ones, I don't know if you saw, they had more than 100 health. Oh, there. And so while they're sheep, they have actually less than 100 health. Which means, if you kill them while they're sheep, it doesn't matter what their health is. Now, why is that important? Because even bosses like Raphael can be polymorphed. There are, in fact, only, I think, 5 or so important bosses in Act 3 that cannot be polymorphed. One of which is Orin, I believe, and you need to kill her to be able to get this thing going in the first place. Alright, encounter over. No one was hurt. Well, that is, except the Sacrificial Lamb, of course. Now we're going to go in and see how this works. So, important things to check. We know Power Word Kill is targeting 2 people because we're level 10 Enchantment Wizard. And it's also targeting a 3rd extra person because of Twinned from Sorcerer. Now, I talked about one time I cheated in there. I want to explain why. Sorcerer has a little funny glitch with their quickened, with their different meta magic, twinned, quickened, that kind of stuff. Basically, if you click the spell first and then click the meta magic, it will not spend the meta magic. I lost sorcery points earlier when I did this thing, not because I spent them, but because I died. That's why I had 2 left instead of 0. I should have used all 9, but I only used 7. So, technically speaking, if you don't care about that kind of exploit, you can do this a little bit easier, and a little bit more times. But we're going to try to talk about without exploits, because even though, I mean, this killing you and not going away is kind of an exploit, it's also kind of how it's built, so that's their fault. Now, how does this build work? First, I want to bring up the Helm of Grit. When you're at 50% or less hit points, you have an additional bonus action. That's important because when we come back from being dead, we're at 1 HP. When we're at 1 HP, we're at less than 50%, right? So that additional bonus action gives us enough to use the create sorcery points, which again is bonus action, twice, which means we get enough points to use it again. And because we're being added into the combat, into the initiative at the front with all of our actions again, because we have a good initiative, we can just keep doing this, where we do 2 sorcery creates, nuke. 2 sorcery creates, nuke. And there's other options too. You'll see in the build I have some things that are unrelated to it a bit, like this, Staff of Cherished Necromancy. This is for a backup. When you're out of spell slots, when you're out of things to kill people with, this is a way to basically cast infinite spells. Anyone familiar with this will understand, and this has to do with why we have Circle of Death, Dethrone, and Blight here. I'll show you a little bit about this later. It's not too important for the moment. Now, other things we have. Cloak of the Weave. This gives us to our spell DC and spell attack rolls. Important. Our DC needs to be pretty high for that polymorph to connect. The power word kill doesn't need anything, but the polymorph does. And so do some of our other spells. Armor of Landfall gives also to spell DC. It also gives you a use of plant growth, and while you're on plant growth, you can heal. Very valuable. We'll get to that again later. Gauntlet of the Tyrant. +1 to spell DC. Who'd have thunk? And it gives 1 use of command level 3. Now, we don't get to split this with our split enchantment, but command is a really good spell. And they already have a plus DC, so I thought this would be fine to include. I put evasive shoes on for now because I just wanted a little extra AC. It doesn't really matter if you get knocked down because it'll only lower your movement, which for this build doesn't matter. As you saw, power word kill has a pretty good range. And then we wield Falar Aluve, and for anyone who knows, this is a very popular weapon. Now, the reason it's popular is because of the Falar Aluve Shriek. All enemies within 20-foot range have a 1d4 penalty to all mental saving throws. Affected creatures also receive a 1 to 4 thunder damage. And now that thunder damage comes in anytime you hit guys, but that's only if they're near you in the Shriek. But this is great because you can use this to get a basically assured polymorph on some targets. We'll show you that in a moment. Hellrider Longbow, +3 to initiative. Again, it gives advantage on perception checks, not that important, but the initiative, very important, because as you see with the build, we have to go first. If we were added into the initiative after monsters, before they've gone, we'd have to wait every time, and we wouldn't be able to just keep joining in like this. So going first is very important. This, combined with our high dex, basically gives a very, very large initiative bonus. Now, let's see. We also wear the Ring of Feywild Sparks. While your Sorceress Tides feature is active, blah blah blah. That doesn't matter. That's for Wild Magic Sorcerer, and we're not that. But what a lot of people don't know is Ring of Feywild Sparks actually has a secret bonus. And if you look in your spell DC, you'll see here, +1 from Ring of Feywild Sparks. Ring of Feywild Sparks is actually +1 to spell save DC. Now we're wearing Ring of Regeneration. At the beginning of your turn, the ring activates, heals you for 1 to 4 hit points. Great. This and the armor both can heal you, which both keep you from being at just 1. Being at 1 sucks. And sometimes you can still take 1 hit before you fall down again. But then again, falling down isn't that important. Now, we could use Periapt of Wound Closure here, I would like to mention. Because if we had that and the ring, it would make it so that every round we would get back up off the ground because we would stabilize and heal. But I really wanted to get my DC high, so on this, I went with the Amulet of the Devout. +2 spell save DC, and the other ability is irrelevant because we don't have a Channel Divinity to use. Now, let me show you here about the Falar thing I was talking about earlier. Now, as we go in, we'll notice again, 130 hit points, 192. So, first, Falar is shrieking. They won't be debuffed by it because we're not in combat. Anything like this only actually debuffs when you're in combat. They still don't like it. So I'll let it luck of the far realms, that's fine. Attack. Now I just did that so we could get into combat. Now, if you notice, invalid target. They have too much HP. But I have 13 sorcery points here. So I will twin to polymorph. 100%, 90%. And if you look, that 90% for her, I don't remember her name. Let's find out. Manip. There. The DC 21, and she had a minus 1d4 from the sword. Now, beyond that, she got 18 total. So even without my debuff, she would have got 18 to the 21. She needed to roll a 17. And with that minus 2 from me, she would have needed to roll a 19. So that's basically assured, as it showed you with the 90%. And now, because we're in a little room, we don't have to actually worry about others noticing, so I can just end turn. Oh, I lied. They all noticed. Well, we'll see if they kill me or not. But you seem to get the point. They've been sheeped, and usually right then you could use that to kill them, because they have now less than 100 HP. Now, I mentioned this works on almost all bosses in Act 3, one of which is Raphael. Means you can take a 666 HP boss and make him suddenly dead. And as you see right there, we have other ways to avoid being hit. My character wasn't hit there because of instinctive charm. That is a charm ability you get from being an enchantment sorcerer. Or sorry, enchantment wizard, not sorcerer. Now I brought him to body block the door. But okay, so my polymorphs didn't break. Let's then instead finish them off. And so I'll show you what I meant earlier. So if you click this and then click that second, it won't spend all 9 of my points. It'll actually spend 0, but I'll die and I'll end up with only 2. And I should end up with 0 if I use it the normal way, but I'll end up with only 2. And as you see, both of the polymorph targets are dead. No matter how much health they had, dead. And now at this point I would... He joined late, but he is strong enough and tanky enough that he could take the attacks of all these guys easily. And then I could just bring her back up, bring her back out, and do the exact same thing I did last time when I showed you all. So we won't have to go through that again. Instead, let's... this one. I want to talk about backup strats. Now, some fights are bigger than this one. This one had about 12 mobs in it total, 10 to 12. And so you can kill those pretty easy when you kill 2 per turn. Maybe sometimes 4 per turn or more if depending on how many actions your other character has. Because if you haste the cleric in this situation, even if it's not a cleric, even if it's someone using Revivify scrolls and you haste them, that's 2 times you can raise the person. That means 3 times you can use Power Word Kill. It means 6 targets dead. One more thing I wanted to go over was I took Dual Wielder as a feat here, only because I wanted to dual wield. You could take pretty much any feat. And I took Lightly Armored because the build naturally doesn't get Light Armor. But you can get Light Armor proficiency from either taking a human mixed race, a half elf or a human. You can get Lightly Armored from different class splits if you wanted, but this particular one is what I would use. So you can get medium and light from Gith or Shield Dwarf, I believe, or Gold Dwarf, one of the dwarves. Regardless, there are races that will get you that armor. If you want to take those races, fine. My character was already a gnome when I thought up this idea, so I am a gnome. But take whatever race you want. You don't have to take lightly armored. If you choose a race that gets light armor naturally, choose the alert feat, because you want to make sure you go first, even against everything. Because this could work against, like I told you, a lot of bosses. Now, in terms of build for the other character, I went with a very simple build of 6 Light Cleric, 1 Wizard, and 5 Gloomstalker. Gloomstalker gives you initiative. I took alert on this guy. Oh no, I didn't take alert. I took an athlete to get my dex up even higher, and I had Gloomstalker for the natural initiative bonus, so I didn't need alert, but I did consider it. Beyond that, I think I took an ASI just to get stats up, but the character build for this character is not that important. This item is, however, the Reviving Hands. Gives you a use of Revivify, lets you give creatures you heal Blade Ward, and it says they gain the effect of Death Ward, but I haven't seen that happen. Now, I also gave him the Whispering Promise so that when I heal people, they get both the Blade Ward and Bless. And then Mystic Scoundrel, so when he shoots people with his bow, he can bonus action out Greater Invis, which is why I took Wizard on him, because then I can Greater Invis my guy and do something that's kind of unfair. So actually, before I show you the backup, I'm going to show you this silly strat if anyone wants to use it. So one thing you can do if you want to do this exact thing we're doing. Now, if you're out of combat, you can do this without having enough sorcery points to do it. So we'll do this. Stealth successful. That means they don't know I did it. Now this guy will go to camp. I don't want a partner, no! There we go. So, I would need to resurrect someone. I want to resurrect my dead person. Take it. Rise. And there she is. Now that you've revived yourself here, instead of down here, you could actually leave and have no repercussions. But beyond, see, now, because she's been revived, they will come to check, but because she was invisible, there's been a murder and it looks like you're a suspect, and because she's not here, I don't know anything about it. The matter is quickly dropped. Look at that. And so I'm not going to keep repeating this, but you could just keep coming over here. And see, as soon as he sees you, he knows it was you. But I could just do the same thing, where I won't even use the meta magic this time, because I don't need to. Oh, I got counterspelled. And that's fine. You get the point. Right there, I could have killed them, and then I would have revived, came back, and rejoined the combat. Another way to do it. Now, instead of dealing with that again, let's look at the backup. The backup has to do with the staff I was using. Staff of Cherished Necromancy. Now, for anyone who doesn't know how this staff works, the first part of it is enemies get disadvantage on their saves against your necromancy spells. That sounds great. It means a higher chance for your things to do full damage. Thumbs up. But the second ability is even more important. It's that when you kill a monster with a spell, they greedily absorb its energy and gain life essence until their next long rest. Now, this isn't happening from power word kill, so don't worry about that. But, what is life essence? Affected entity has absorbed a creature's essence. It can use that essence to cast any necromancy spell without consuming a spell slot. Now that is very powerful. And here we'll show why. I'll take my other guy out of here for a moment. Hopefully I'll live through it. Actually, let's see how this works. Alright. So all you gotta do is kill one person. I think she'll die. Boom. And now you see I have life essence. And now, usually, I wouldn't have any more uses of Circle of Death because it's level 6. But, because I have life essence, I do have additional uses of Circle of Death. And it's based on being centered from the target. So you always have to choose a target. It's trying to choose the fire elemental, that's why it's going weird. But it's basically like a fireball that you can just center on someone. It's worse than fireball because you can't put it on the ground, but it's better than fireball in some ways too. Number one is the obvious, which is you can use it with this life essence stuff. And then, the thing about life essence is, it doesn't actually go away when it's supposed to. And so, I could do something like take a potion of speed, use life essence again, and just keep blasting these guys. Now I got a scene on that one, but as you see, I mean, it's too late. They're all dead. Bam! And so with the life essence, you can cast any of these 3 spells. I always take Dethrone, Blight, and Circle of Death. Circle of Death is really good, and I'll actually get to that in a sec. Dethrone I'll talk about first. Dethrone is basically just like a super Blight. Dethrone is good because it does a ton of damage, as you see, but it can only be used 1 time. That's even with the life essence, only 1 use. Blight is any number of uses, and well, once you have life essence. And it's pretty good damage, it's pretty good range, it's nothing crazy. It does maximum damage against plants, but that comes up very few times. But Circle of Death, on the other hand, is very good. Good. Definitely a strong spell. So one thing people often don't consider is the fact that even though Circle of Death requires you to target someone, it doesn't require you to target an enemy. And so, if there's not someone in a particularly good spot, you can instead choose an ally. Now, what better than some kind of ally that is semi-disposable, like a familiar? Now, Shovel is even better, but I don't have Shovel on this character. If you put Scratch or any familiar out, you can target them with Circle of Death. And as you see, that got us the life essence we needed right there. Not from him, but from the civilians around it. And yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention was because we took Storm Sorcerer, we took it just for the tempestuous magic. This is a way that, besides with Misty Step, we can get away from people when we get lower on HP after blowing ourselves up. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build. It was a very fun one. I don't know the perfect gear for it yet. If anyone has any great suggestions, I would love to hear them. But so far, this is the best I've found. Thanks for watching.